I'm taking on a challenge. For the next 30 days, I'm following one rule. No spending over $100 without stopping and thinking first. No exceptions, no excuses. And before you click away thinking, yeah, another budgeting trick, let me ask you something real. Have you ever checked your bank account and thought, how am I broke already? You didn't buy a car, you didn't book a vacation. You didn't make one huge mistake. So where did the money go? That's the problem. In the US, most people don't lose money in big moments, they lose it quietly. A $120 Target run, a $180 dinner, a $200 Amazon cart filled with things you didn't plan to buy. Each purchase feels harmless. Together, they wreck your cash flow. Here's the uncomfortable truth most financial gurus won't say. Backhand index pointing right Americans don't overspend because they're irresponsible. Backhand index pointing right they overspend because spending is frictionless. Tap your phone, swipe a card, money gone, no pause, no pain, no awareness. That's why willpower fails. Budget spreadsheets fail, tracking apps fail, motivation fails, because none of them stop the decision before it happens. That's what the $100 rule does. It doesn't track spending, it interrupts it. Here's the rule in plain English. Anytime you're about to spend $100 or more, you stop. You don't decide right away. You don't justify it emotionally. You don't say, I deserve this. You pause. That pause is everything. Because once emotion cools down, logic finally shows up. And if you think this rule is too simple, that's exactly why it works. Americans love complex solutions, but complexity hides bad behavior. Simple rules expose it. Let's be honest. Most needs aren't needs. They're wants wearing a better outfit. A new phone because yours is slow. A bigger TV because it was on sale. A nicer car because your payment still fits the budget. Affordable does not mean smart. The $100 rule forces one brutal question. Backhand index pointing right, will future me thank me for this? Most purchases fail that test. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. In the next part, I'll break down exactly how Americans should apply the $100 rule to real-life groceries, tech, dining, subscriptions, because knowing the rule means nothing if you don't know how to use it. Let's make this practical, because theory doesn't pay bills. The $100 rule only works if you apply it correctly. Most people mess it up immediately by negotiating with themselves. You know the excuses, it's basically necessary. I'll make it back next paycheck. It's a good deal. I don't usually spend like this. That voice is not logic. That's impulse wearing confidence. Here's how the rule actually works. First, define the trigger. Any purchase, subscription, or commitment over $100 activates the rule. No splitting purchases, no mental loopholes. If the decision costs more than $100, you pause. Second, add time. Minimum 24 hours, ideally 48 or 72, not to punish yourself, but to let emotion fade because urgency is fake, regret is real. Now during that pause, ask 3 questions. Slowly. 1. What problem does this actually solve? 2. Is there a cheaper or delayed option? 3. If I skip this, what do I gain instead? Most purchases collapse right there. Let's talk examples, American examples. Take a $1,200 phone upgrade. Ask yourself, is my phone broken or am I just bored? Boredom is expensive. Dining out a $160 dinner for 2 doesn't sound crazy until you realize you do it 3 times a month. That's almost $500 gone on food you forget in 2 days. Clothing a $140 jacket feels cheap because it's not $300. That's comparison spending, and it destroys savings quietly. Number subscriptions. This is where Americans bleed money. Streaming. Apps memberships apply the rule yearly. Would I rebuy this today for $120? If the answer is no, cancel it. Now let's address the big objection. What about necessities? Here's the truth. True necessities are rare. Housing, basic food, insurance. Most other things are just inconvenient to avoid, and inconvenience isn't an emergency. This rule doesn't make life smaller, it makes it intentional. I'll show you what actually changes after 30 days on this rule. Not just savings, your mindset, your confidence, your control. Most people think this rule is about money. It's not, it's about identity. Once you follow the $100 rule consistently, 3 things change fast. First, you stop confusing spending with progress. Buying things feels productive. The rule breaks that illusion. You start asking, is this improving my life or just distracting me? Second, you become harder to sell to. Sales stop working on you. Limited time offers, flash deals, only a few left. They lose power once your default response is, I'll wait. That's rare. Third, you start trusting yourself. This matters more than any budget. When you stop impulse spending, you stop feeling guilty about money. And when guilt disappears, clarity shows up. That's when real financial progress starts. People using this rule consistently pay off credit cards faster, build emergency funds without stress, avoid lifestyle inflation, not because they earn more, because they stop leaking money. And here's the part no one tells you. Once you control $100 decisions, $1,000 decisions stop being scary. Discipline scales. In the final part, I'll show you how to customize this rule for your income so it actually sticks long-term. Rigid rules fail, flexible systems win. The $100 rule is a framework. Here's how smart Americans customize it without breaking it. First, adjust the number. If your high income, $100 might be too low. Your rule might be $250 or $500. The number doesn't matter. The pause does. Second, pre-approve real exceptions, medical expenses, true emergencies, planned investments, never emotional spending. Third, track avoided spending, not what you spent. What you didn't spend, that number builds momentum. Finally, know when to break the rule. If a purchase saves long-term time, increases income, eliminates recurring costs, then spending more is smart. The rule exists to stop stupidity, not progress. Most Americans fail financially because they never install guardrails. This is one, simple, boring, effective. Try it for 30 days seriously. Not kind of, not mostly. And then tell me your relationship with money didn't change. Backhand index pointing right. In the next video, I'll show you how to turn that saved money into actual growth, not just a bigger bank balance.